another episode of Gossip Finance, where I am your host, Alacius Inger.
And I'm Duncan Sandlin. How's everybody today? How are you doing, Lacey?
I'm absolutely fabulous, and I'm so excited to talk about the news. It's such a train wreck this week, I can't even stand it.
Cool. Everybody, just so you know, Lacey's got kind of a hard out here, so if we end up going longer, I might go a little bit longer, depending on if we can get through this. But we got a lot of stuff we need to cover. First, we got to cover, so the civil fraud trial wrapped up in New York, but Trump's going to court for a criminal case on the same fraud with Alvin Bragg. That starts next month, March 25th. We'll cover that. The RNC and Trump are hemorrhaging cash. They are practically broke for the election cycle, so that we'll cover that and where some of that money went. Everybody's favorite Matt Gaetz, his sex trafficking case has come back up, so that'll be interesting and fun in Congress. And we'll cover Trump's disqualification case, which is going to be heard by the Supreme Court here in the next couple days, actually. So if you're saying this, it's probably just been heard. And then we got, we'll cover some of the stuff on the economy that's going on, and we'll do some clips at the end. So are you ready to dive in, Lace? Are you ready to wade into the pool?
Rock and roll.
Into the cesspool that is America?
Into the cesspool we go. I'll take a shower as soon as we're out here.
All right, so let's begin with this. So Trump just wrapped up the civil case in New York. Now, the judge in that, Engoron, was going to issue a ruling, and the ruling had to deal with whether or not Trump could ever do business again in the state of New York, a real estate business, and what the fines were going to be. And the DA initially asked for $250 million, and she asked for $370 million. Now, everybody's guessing it's going to be close to $500 million because Trump's key defendant, his CFO, lied on the stand, and that just came out. And the judge just issued a letter about what did he perjure himself about to Trump's lawyers. And if they lie, that's going to get any worse. So he was supposed to do a ruling at the end of last month. It's now, a week late, which means that's bad because he probably already had it written and ready to go. But then this came out, and the report came out from the independent inspector. Then she said that they were committing fraud. She said, I can't say it's fraud, but none of their books match up. Everything looks wrong. Right? And they've got all these weird practices that look fraudulent. So if it's dragged on this long, it means that Engoron's probably going to slap him even harder because he's had to change what the penalty is. And now he's trying to figure out, well, what's a reasonable penalty? But it's got to be worse than it was before if he's waiting this long. Otherwise, he'd have just issued it. So it could be up to $500 million that Trump owes, and he will never be able to do business in New York again, real estate business at least. Well, part of that whole case was it was a test run because they weren't sure if they could get the evidence in a conviction. Well, all the stuff he committed was actual crimes in New York. They're all felonies. Alvin Bragg had an indictment handed down by the New York Supreme Court, New York State Supreme Court, that he could charge him with 34 felony counts of fraud. One of them being the Stormy Daniels hush money payment. This is why this is so often referred to as the Stormy Daniels case, but it's so much more. That's just the fun part,
right.
Right,
that's the sexy part.
Yeah,
honestly, it's kind of the sideline part.
It's not even sexy. She described his penis as looking like the mushroom from Super Mario Brothers.
I didn't mean the human was sexy. I mean the headline.
The headline was sexy.
Headline.
Yeah,
right.
The porn star, he made her watch Shark Week with him. It's weird shit. Okay, so anyway, that'll all come out. That'll be fun. But Alvin Bragg now moved forward because they know they're going to get him hammered for the civil. So now they've got more than enough evidence to hammer him for the criminal because all that came out in the civil trial and it's all admissible. So here's Alvin Bragg finally pulling the trigger, and he is feeling really good right now. He seems real calm and laid back, but he has got to be freaking ecstatic with the results here. Oh, whoops.
Listen in. On a New York Supreme Court indictment returned by a Manhattan grand jury on 34 felony counts of falsifying business records in the first degree. Under New York state law, it is a felony to falsify business records with intent to defraud and an intent to conceal another crime. That is exactly what this case is about. 34 false statements made to cover up other crimes. These are felony crimes in New York State, no matter who you are.
Now, I want to clarify this. I don't know what the penalties are in New York. I do know the universal language for that is if it's a felony, typically the minimum penalty is at least a year in prison. With the exception of, I think, like DUIs. But everything else, 1 year. So 34 counts. If they get them all consecutive time, it could be 34 years. This could be it. This could be the case that does it.
I can see the headlines now. Stormy Daniels' case results in 34 years of,
And I could.
time behind
I
bars.
know.
That's funny.
I know that would be like Abraham Lincoln getting taken down by, adult, cabaret model, breezy candles or something like that. I mean, it's just too fucking good to be true. She'll go down in history as the porn star that brought down a president, an ex-president. But
you know what? There's got to be some like special porn star award for your ability to take down a whole president. Jeez.
I give her an award. We'll give her the little mushroom penis award.
You know what? I know we have absolutely no budget, but I might be willing to throw in and create a budget for Gossip Finance to give Stormy Daniels an award.
Yeah, we might buy her a little bobblehead of him. Something.
She'd be like, "Oh my God, that's what it looks like."
Oh man. So yeah, this looks really bad. Plus, this is going to get done before the election, right? So they're starting March. I doubt this goes past May, right? And it looks like the January 6th case is going to go through pretty soon. That was breaking news. We don't have time to cover it today, but the immunity case with Trump just got dumped by the appeals court, in unanimous decision, 3-0, said nope, he's not immune. So he can try to take that to the Supreme Court, but it looks like Chutkin's going to move forward with that case in May. So he's going to go from March. He's going to get convicted, and I'm going to show you why here in a minute on this one. So he could probably push sentencing back till maybe the end of the year or early next year at the longest, because he'll be in court right after that for the January 6th shit, and then he'll probably be in court right after that for Georgia for the election scandal shit. So it's going to be a rough year. And then what's the fourth? There's a fourth one I keep forgetting about. There's so many I can't keep track of them anymore. I should just get a freaking note card.
I mean, listen, I'm not going to lie. I've been so impressed with you managing to say these all without getting them mixed up as you present them, because there's so many of them. They've just started kind of tangling in my brain a little bit. Like, I know they're separate things.
Right.
But it's like one after another, and they kind of intertwine a little.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, at least some of them do.
Well, here's where Alvin Bragg is really confident. So part of it was the CFO for Trump perjured himself in the civil case, right? So now he's up for a perjury charge. All right, so we're going to go on to this, but this is now why Alan Weisselberg's so confident about this whole situation. All right, so this is CNN. Here you go.
The man who spent decades helping run Donald Trump's family business, Alan Weisselberg, could be on the verge of pleading guilty for the second time, this time to a perjury charge, we are told. The 76-year-old was the chief financial officer of the Trump organization for decades. He went to jail at Rikers for about 100 days last year. That was for his role in running a 15-year tax fraud scheme at the Trump organization. Now, tonight, there is new reporting from the New York Times and confirmed by CNN that Weisselberg is in talks to potentially plead guilty to a perjury charge, this time related to Trump's civil fraud trial, where he, Alan Weisselberg, would have to admit that he lied on the stand during his own testimony.
So here's what that means. Before we get into this long-winded segment. If he's in talks to plead guilty, it means he's cutting a deal. Because this is what happened.
Yeah, he's absolutely cutting a deal, because otherwise there's no reason you would admit to that.
Right. This
if you weren't getting some sort of a deal.
Well, I mean, you would when you get some sort of deal. But it's even doubly worse, because last year he did 100 days in jail on his last plea for being involved with the fraud stuff. And the kicker to that is that he got to keep a lot of the money. And the state of New York, the state of New York said, we're not going to seize it. Oh, was it New York? Or yeah, I think it was New York. Said, we're not going to seize it. You can keep it. So basically, he just had to do 100 days jail, pay a bunch of fines, but he got to kind of walk away with a little parachute. Not all of the money, but he got to keep millions of dollars, a lot of money. So in that deal, though, he can't then perjure himself later. So now they can rescind that deal. So he'd be doing whatever the minimum sentence is for that, which is probably at least a year, maybe more. On top of that, they'd be charging him with a perjury. But if they convicted him of that, then he'd be doing that time consecutive on top of that. And they would take all the money and freeze all those assets and seize them. So he'd be doing serious prison time, and they take all his money, his ill-gotten gains. So he has to plead now. I don't know why he was
he's kind of between a rock and a hard place.
Well, he put himself there. Why would you perjure yourself in court when you have a plea deal? I mean, do you really love Trump that much? Is he that much of a hot date? I mean, what's going on?
Yeah.
So Weisselberg is either going to testify on behalf of the prosecution, or probably more likely, they're just going to tell him, you're not testifying at all, or if you do testify, you have to be honest. So now Trump has lost his only witness for his defense. So Trump has no defense now to say he didn't know. So Alvin Bragg has got him dead to rights. So that'll be a fun case because Trump he's looking at the max here, man. It's going to be bad. It's kind of
some slaughtering waiting to happen.
Oh my God. So that's what's going on with that case.